Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, everyone that can hear the sound of my voice to this week's edition of the Petty and Ill-Informed Podcast. Joining me, Tom. Tom, how are you?
Yeah, doing good, Richard. Doing good. And yourself?
Yeah, I'm grand.
Okie dokie. So it's
Yeah,
just you and me tonight.
looks like it. Nobody else is responding, so I guess Nikki's asleep and Phil's busy.
Yep, that would make sense.
Which, it's totally voluntary to show up, so.
Yeah.
So I remembered what I wanted to talk about.
Go on.
Cell phones.
Yep.
Mobile phones, smartphones. Have you ever thought about the fact that they contain the sum total of all human knowledge?
I suppose they do, really. I mean, yeah, and a lot more. It's crazy what they can do and how quick how rapidly the technology has come on.
Yeah, it's like some Star Trek stuff. When I was a kid, Next Generation, those pads they had, everyone was like, "Oh, that'll never happen. That's impossible." But here we are.
They were. I mean, do you remember? Do you remember the days when some people said, "Oh, I'll never have a mobile phone"? I knew a guy called Paul who said that. He swore blind he'd never have one. Now, I think I only know one person who refuses to have a smartphone and sticks to an old, text messaging brick. It's really cool, the phone he's got. I think it's like a work phone for builders. It's made by Cat or JCB or something like that. It looks brilliant, but they're one of those sort of phones you can get that are old school. But even he has a phone of sorts. So yeah, it's amazing how everything changes, and how without meaning to fall down a different rabbit hole, I wonder if because I'm saying that about AI, I'm saying I refuse to use it, I refuse to acknowledge it, I refuse to have anything to do with it as far as is humanly possible. And I wonder if if it'll insidiously creep its way into every facet of society.
I mean, it already has, probably. They're using it. They made a video game not that long ago that had an AI in it, so you'd never be able to play the game the same way twice.
Oh.
It was a murder mystery game. It got very bad reviews because the AI wasn't good, but they're working on it. Some YouTube videos are just completely an AI avatar that looks pretty realistic. It's creeping its way into every facet, and well, I've seen the Terminator, I've seen the Matrix. I know this doesn't end well, but people are still going to do it.
God, and didn't Sir Keir Starmer, our lauded Prime Minister, recently declare that he wants the UK to be a leading power in the world of AI?
Mm-hmm. I'm telling you, the minute they put AI into Roombas, it's over for us.
If they put AI into what?
Roombas.
What's Roombas?
You know those little robot vacuums you can get that drive around the house sucking stuff up?
Yeah. Oh, I see.
They're like little disc things. Have you never heard of a Roomba?
I know what they are now. You talk about them. Yeah, you can get lawnmowers that do this work on the same principle.
Yeah, exactly. The minute we start putting AI into Roombas, that's it. We're done.
Well, that's it. That's the bottom line for you. Is that's the threshold?
Because the robot will work out eventually we are the cause of all the mess it has to vacuum, and the easiest way for it to accomplish its mission is to eliminate us.
I mean, we're told that such things are impossible, but they just don't feel impossible. It feels all too plausible.
Yeah. I mean, like in the immortal words of Ian Malcolm, just because you can do something doesn't mean you should.
Exactly. Ian Malcolm.
Yeah.
It's said, isn't it said by Seth Goldblum in Jurassic Park?
Yeah, that's the character he plays.
Oh, okay. So we are still quoting from the same source.
Yeah, we're quoting exactly the same thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Have you ever read the book Jurassic Park and the Lost World?
I start the book by, was it Michael Crichton? I started it, but I didn't finish it when I was a teenager.
I really like the Lost World book. The Lost World book is really good. There was no way they were. I knew when they announced they were going to make a movie, I was like, you're not going to follow the book at all because the book wraps everything up and you're going to want to make more sequels for it. But I really wish they'd followed the book because the book was great.
What happens in it then?
Well, it's basically the same premise as the movie. Isla Sorna is Site B. It's the factory floor. It's where the dinosaurs rule bred, and then they just basically release them onto the island with trackers on, and when they needed them for Jurassic Park, they just go and get them. Never explained how they did that with the Predators, but whatever. It wasn't that deep. So there's a Dr. Richard Irving. It's been ages. Something like that. Anyway, he reckons that Site B exists. Ian Malcolm suspects Site B exists. It was weird Ian Malcolm was in it because actually he dies at the end of the Jurassic Park book.
Okay.
But they retconned him to be alive for all it. And he reckons the Doctor is certain the island exists. Ian Malcolm suspects it. They're looking for it. And Biosyn Dodson, they're looking for it as well because he's still trying to steal dinosaurs to, for his own company. So the Dr. Richard goes to the island first, and Ian goes to rescue him, and he takes a team with him, and then Dodgson arrives on the team. He gives a ride to Sarah Harding, because I know in the film Sarah Harding goes to the island first, but she's actually the last to go to the island in the book, and tries to murder her by throwing her overboard. She survives and gets to the island, and then Dogson's got this device for stunning the dinosaurs, so he's going around stunning the dinosaurs, stealing their eggs, while Ian and his team are studying the dinosaurs. And Dodgson tries to steal a Tyrannosaurus egg, and his machine stops working, and stuff ensues. Sarah Harding actually straight up murders Dodgson in The Lost World. She kicks him into a Tyrannosaur, which I thought was pretty cool, but they didn't put in the book. The Tyrannosaurs wreck. What?
Do you mean they didn't put in the film?
Yeah, they didn't put it in the film.
Yeah, you said book a moment ago, but hey.
No. In the book, Sarah murders Dodgson, but they didn't put that in the film. That's what I meant.
Right. Yeah.
Their camp gets destroyed. I forget. I think the Tyrannosaurs destroy the trailers, and then the Raptors work out they're there and chase them into an old village where they sort of hide. And then eventually they get down to the docks, get on a boat and escape. But the way it's wrapped up is that throughout the book, they're making a big deal about the fact that there are no true adult dinosaurs. Like the Apatosaurs and the Tyrannosaurs aren't as big as they're supposed to be. And there's far too many predators on the island. Well, it's revealed because the dinosaurs are all dying because they've got prions disease, because they were given tainted sheep meat to eat. And the Compsognathus would bite the dinosaurs and spread it around. So the dinosaurs are all going to die anyway. And that's how they wrap it all up. But it's a really good book. I really liked it. And the film, to be fair, The Lost World is not a bad film until they get to the long grass. Everything that happens after they get to the long grass is utter shite and ruins that movie, but everything before that is great.
I remember thinking it just wasn't very good.
It's fine until they get to the long grass.
What happens in the long grass?
They have to run away from the raptors, and then the kids that with them kills a raptor by doing gymnastics. It's awful. And then they go to the mainland, and the Tyrannosaur runs amok, and instead of the military just blowing it up, they lure it onto the boat, and it's just terrible.
I remember being very unimpressed. I watched it once many years ago.
It wasn't as bad as Jurassic Park 3, but still.
Well, I think it's a franchise that's been rebooted at least once.
Yeah, they did it with Jurassic World. There's another one where the first one was good and then it just got really bad after that.
Right.
The problem with Americans is they take things too far. Like their TV shows. The Walking Dead, great. Too many series, ruined it. The American Office, great. Too many series, ruined it. Cheers, Seinfeld. Seinfeld, they literally, the last 3 episodes of Seinfeld are clip shows. They just had no ideas left, so they just went with clip shows. And I'm just like, yeah, I get it. Just 6 seasons total. But they're just ringing franchises for everything they can get out of it.
Well, quite.
Anyway, you wanted to talk about your work. Sorry.
Oh, no, you're all good, mate. You're all good. Yeah. So, well, I just... it's simply that things at work continue to go well. And I had a lesson observation on Thursday, and the assistant principal who came to see it, he was really happy. He gave me very good feedback. And it was a credit to the team of teaching assistants I work with, all of the kids. And yeah, I dare say myself. So it's, I'm just in a territory that I've not been in a very long time, where I really don't have a deep fear that doom could be coming in terms of losing my job, or feeling like having everything to prove all the time, and sort of the undercurrent of anxiety that it always sort of sits there in the background that just isn't there. And consequently, my mental health is better than it's been in a very long time, probably better than it's been since at least 2015, if not about 2005. Now, in 2015, it was funny. I was given the cushiest number that anyone could hope for within a school. I was in a primary school, and we had a new head teacher turn up, and he made me a sort of head of IT, which in a primary school is a bit odd, because most people who do that have a full-time class as well, but I didn't. He put me in charge of 2 schools within the academy, and my charge was to oversee all hardware and infrastructure, deliver the lessons as part of teachers' planning cover, and be in charge of all, the curriculum, all online safety, the school website, and that kind of, and be in the budget for all the hardware, manage the technicians. I had technicians working on it, because I was a teacher, not actually an IT expert, in terms of, literally that's somebody who works with computers. I wasn't a technician or anything, or a programmer or anything like that. So, but I was being paid on a teacher's salary, with sort of extra money for being a teaching and learning responsibilities and things like that. and I wasn't in charge of any English and maths or data or progress. It was an absolute dream, and I thought, this can't last. And actually, it only lasted one term. Sort of by 4 months, it was done. And it was done because I was needed to go into a class. A class needed a teacher for complicated reasons I won't and can't go into here. But they needed a teacher to come in and take over, so I did. And then I had to, and then it all started up again. All the marking, all the lesson planning, all the submitting data, all the being in charge of pupil progress, keeping up with the reading records, organizing school trips, the whole caboodle. And I was still in charge of some of the computing things, of course. What they needed to do was the people who were sort of working as technicians, they needed to massively improve their pay and job role, and for them to do not just what they're told on a technical level, but be sort of in charge of infrastructure projects and that big time stuff, managing the school's internet and all the servers and all of that sort of stuff. So to be a full, go not just from a technician but to be a full IT systems manager, which schools had evolved to the point that every school now has proper people paid at IT industry rates for this, I think. So that cushy number was great while it lasted, but I didn't think it would last long, but I didn't think it would last that short a time. But yeah, so then all the pressure came back. And since then, from about 2016, 17 onwards, till 2 years ago when I left mainstream teaching, the pressure was well and truly on again. Now, in the period before that, the decade before that, was really had some very high, some very low lows, because I started teaching in about 2004, thereabouts, and I had one false start at a school where things didn't work out, but a lot of that was down to me and just being nowhere near ready. Then I, even though I'd scraped through teacher training by the skin of my teeth in 2002 to 2003, then my first job didn't work out, and then the second one really did, and I did some supply teaching for a bit in 2004, and got the hang of it, got a grip, found who I was, and my first job was absolutely grand, and it was at a school in Gillingham. It's the same school, primary school that David Frost went to, I think, called Barnsole Juniors, and I had a great time there. And getting progress there didn't seem to be too difficult. But after that, it was then, because I then went to a school in. I went to a school in here, Whitstable, and we bought our house there. And Hannah, had my darling wife, she had a job here as well. But then it all went horribly wrong in about 2010, 11. And I was sent packing, but unlike the first time when I was 6 months into the job and I didn't have any responsibilities. Well, now, Hannah and I was married, we had a child and a mortgage, and I fucking shat myself. It was a dark time. Just doing my best to keep my head above water, not able to do it. We had a new head teacher. They didn't pull any punches, and I jumped before I was pushed, to be fair. But pushed I was going to be. So I didn't feel I had much of a choice, and off I went. And I picked money. It's the only time in my life I've been on antidepressants. Not that citalopram did anything for me. And my mental health was very low then. I was not in a good way. I'm not sure if I lost a lot of weight or not. I'd have to. I think I might have done. I managed to do. I managed. The anxiety was just huge. I was really on edge a lot of the time, and very afraid. But I managed to keep myself together enough to keep this job I'd gotten in a school in Margate. I've always thanked the head teacher profusely for giving me a job there, and for giving me a second chance. And when she left, she was it had a very teary goodbye. I did say to her, I said, "You'll always be the person who saved me from the scrap heap. You know, I'll never forget you." Yeah. Hang on, Richard. I've just got to take a quick time out. All right, man.
All right, dude.
I've just got to. I think it's one of the kids is being daft, and I'll be right back.
Okay. Well, I guess it's just going to be me covering for a few minutes until Tom gets back. Everyone in chat, have a good week. I had a fairly decent week. Got up to a lot. You know, just working hard and hardly working, basically. I did, the weather this week's been really good. And we had yes, that's what I wanted to talk about. Oh yeah, Gabby, you told me your week was crazy. I can't remember if I brought it up last week after the storm. But they did officially classify Storm Eowyn as an extratropical cyclone and not a hurricane. But despite the fact that it had hurricane level winds, it didn't qualify as a hurricane. And I'm not sure how that works. Apparently it's to do with the way it forms. So the storm formed as an extratropical cyclone and didn't form as a hurricane. But can you have trans weather? Because it had hurricane force winds. So maybe it started out as an extratropical cyclone, but then transitioned to a hurricane. I wonder what the pronouns are for weather. Cyclone, psych.
Hi, sorry, I'm back. It's my kid, as always, was being a pain and making a big noise, and I had to go have a word.
The bad one.
Yeah. So where was I? I was sort of I'd gone all autobiographical.
Yeah, you were talking about how the headmistress gave you a second chance and gave you a job.
That was it, and so that so then things that was where I was at this school in Margate, seaside town, just about 15 miles, 20 miles east of Whitstable, where I live. And I probably shouldn't have talked myself like that, but never mind. That's what it's to do, isn't it? We all know that. Oh, okay. There I go again.
Stop doxing yourself! Stop revealing critical information.
I never learn. What am I going to do? Have Gabby knocking at my front door?
Yes! If anyone was ever going to do that, it would definitely be Gabby.
You fly across the pond, just to turn up, just to give me a slap or something.
I mean, that would be pretty funny. I was just musing before you joined, whether or not weather has pronouns or not.
They tend to attribute gender and things to names to them, don't they? So to hurricanes and stuff.
Yeah, well, that was the thing, right? Because the storm we had last weekend was officially classified as an extratropical cyclone, but ended up with winds that was way beyond hurricane force. I think the fastest it was recorded in the end was 189 miles per hour.
Right.
And it was because of the way it was forming, it was classed as an extratropical cyclone. And I was just musing whether or not it had transitioned into a hurricane, being born once a piece of weather, then another. But as usual, Gabby's ruined it and sent me a full explanation. Extratropical cyclones are often associated with winter weather, while hurricanes are associated with warmer weather. I mean, well, there we go. Mystery solved. Gary's great like that, though. Plus, in her area of the world she gets nutria, which are a cool type of rat.
A cool type of ram or rat.
Rat, sorry, R-A-T.
Oh, okay.
They're like a small capybara.
Oh, sounds cute.
Yeah. Capybaras have a predator called a bush dog, and that thing is adorable.
Well, a bush dog is adorable.
Yeah, they are literally one of the most adorable things on the planet.
Oh, I think what's the most adorable animal I've seen? I always had a thing for the long-tailed tit, those birds. I've hardly ever seen one in the wild. Maybe I've got a feeling I have once. A bird table somewhere. I'm not sure, but I always thought they looked wonderful.
We get them on my bird feeders a lot.
Oh, you do?
Yeah.
Oh, feel free to send us a picture of one when one next rocks up.
Yeah. Saw a whatchamacallit, the big glorious ones, bullfinch. There we are. The other day. Don't get them very often.
Huh. You know 1,000 times more than I do about birds. What I know about birds, you could write on the back of a postage stamp. You know, that old classic line. Yeah, I know next to nothing about them. My mum has always, and dad have always been fans. My wife's parents have always been fans. You know, I admire them. I love seeing them when they turn up in David Attenborough. There was this one bird of this one tropical bird that lives in these rainforests, and it I mean, if what we're watching and the narrative is to be believed, and that they've studied these birds and genuinely, repeatedly found this behavior, the one mating ritual of this one type of bird, I can't remember. It has this massive, great hood thing that it can fluff up and do a massive dance, and it has to get an apprentice, and the courting male has to get an apprentice and do the dance, teach it this younger male the dance, and as to get its potential mate to sit down and watch him and his apprentice do this little double dance.
Sounds like a bird of paradise.
There you go, probably is. And then he gets to go and mate, and the apprentice then becomes the master. So as soon as he can get a little minion to do the dance, he can then get on the bong himself, and so on and so on. It's just, and that's honestly
There's a kind of spider that has to do a very sophisticated dance to attract a mate, and if he gets any part of it wrong, the female will eat him.
Oh dear.
I feel like that's a more efficient way of learning. I mean, and even if he gets to mate, odds are the female's going to eat him anyway. Female spiders eat a lot of male spiders, regardless of species. Like, if I was a spider, I would very much want to be a girl spider.
Oh yeah. I mean, the black widows and praying mantises are the ones notorious for that, but it probably goes on all over the animal kingdom.
Not in mammals, but in insects, surely. Insects and arachnids, definitely.
Ooh.
Well, I guess honey badgers dig a pit and drag females into it. Argentina lake ducks have a 17-inch long penis that they lasso around females.
Oh, charming. They lasso it around females.
Yeah.
What, they whip the thing round the neck and haul them in with that?
Yeah.
What's that animal called?
Argentinian lake duck.
Oh, nice. I remember my A-level biology teacher telling us that in the animal kingdom, it's a good question for you right here, Richard. What in the animal kingdom does the male have the largest appendage relative to body size?
Lobster.
Nope, but it is in the sea.
We're talking whales. Blue whale?
Nope.
I'm pretty sure it's a lobster.
Not that I'm not as told by my biology teacher. Something far smaller,
Oh, a whelk.
even smaller.
Limpet.
Same size and shape, but its smaller cousin.
Barnacles.
Yes, a barnacle.
That's
A barnacle's
bollocks.
penis extends out of its shell 10 times the length of the barnacle itself. And it would probably have to be fair. It's a record that makes sense.
I'm Googling this because I'm 90% sure. No, you're right. Barnacles. Okay.
Oh, what do you know?
Damn. Can you imagine that being a male barnacle living next to another male and getting penis in the face?
Well, no, I can't really. Oh, here's Gabby. I'm expecting Gabby to turn up.
I should have invited her up, actually, thinking about it.
Oh, no, it's the Argentinian lake duck. The Argentine lake duck. Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, I've got a charming fact here. The organ has apparently evolved a brush-like tip to remove sperm from previous matings. Oh, God. Gordon Bennett. What do you know, eh? Good old Wikipedia.
I just, the facts you learn.
Indeed. On the Pessie and Elephant podcast. Aren't we brilliant?
We are the best. You now know there is an animal that lassos females with its penis.
We do.
I think that's a good stopping point, actually.
Yeah. Cheers. I'm all done. So just so the reason I bothered with my whole life story and stuff is that it's definitely a time to count my blessings, and really does feel long-term sustainable. I hope so. Fingers crossed. Fingers crossed I don't botch it up or screw it up in any way or dox myself in some kind of all trouble-inducing kind of way. But anyway, hopefully I roll carefully enough to make sure for that to not happen.
I'm sure you'll be fine. You're a good teacher.
Mm-hmm. Thanks a lot, Richard, mate. Cheers.
That'll wrap us up for this week. We will return next week, despite the hopes of many. It's good night from me, and it's good night from Tom.
Good night, everyone. Thanks, Gabby.